Welcome everybody, and today I'm taking this very ugly chalkboard that I got for $5 from a thrift store, and I'm going to completely change it and make it my own. It was such a bargain. I saw it there and I'm just thinking, $5, this is the perfect surface. If I went to an art store and found anything like this or just a normal canvas, it's going to cost me probably 4 times that to get something of that size. So I just thought, this is awesome. I didn't even realize at the time that this was actually someone's original art from 2000. It does have a name and a date on the back, and apologies to that person, but it has lived a good life of 24 years looking the way it is. I'm assuming if it was a very loved item, it would not be in the thrift store. So, you know, it is what it is, and I'm going to give it new life, and maybe someday someone else can enjoy it and repaint over it. I don't know. They'll decide what they want to do with it. As I strip this back and repaint it, I want to talk about stripping myself back and talking about mental health and why I do art, because that is a very important part of my journey. Just after Christmas in 2019, I saw somebody on social media who had started doing an art journey because they had some mental health issues, and I thought that was actually a really good idea. I'd always enjoyed doing art. I actually had a lot of paints and pencils, like my husband had bought me over the years for Christmas presents, because, you know, he liked to encourage that side of me, and I just never really used them as much as I should. Like I would dabble in it here and there, but I just never like really got into the full-on hobby, even though I enjoyed it. I guess I just wanted to spend my free time doing things with him versus just doing something on my own. And by the time I got to Christmas 2019, I decided that I was actually going to start doing art as a little bit of a hobby to improve my mental health, because it's something I actually always enjoyed, and it was something that I was really good at when I was in high school, even though that was a long time ago. So I knew that it was actually something that I could actually focus on and that would actually help me. So the day after Christmas in 2019, I told Matt I really want to focus on my art. I showed him a picture that I wanted to paint. And, you know, he's very supportive and was always very supportive of my art, as I mentioned before. And, you know, we did a lot of research. I remember we looked at all these different sites online, which stores would actually have the best prices. And yeah, I went off and bought some stuff. And then it's I just really got into it. I started doing at least probably every Saturday, where I'd spend a few hours just on my dining room table. I would watch YouTube videos, I would follow tutorials on acrylic painting. My main project was always going to be oil painting. So for Valentine's that year, which was not too long after, Matt bought me a oil painting course for Valentine's Day, and I also did a resin course around the same time, and I just really got into it. I also was actually just having this huge mental health kind of time where I was getting back into my exercises. I was doing 2-hour bike rides every Sunday, something I hadn't done for a very long time, and I was really so focused on having 2020 as being this big mental health year. And obviously 2020 is the year where everything kind of went a bit weird, and you know, that didn't last very long, but it was actually probably a good thing, because even though 2020 was the year that we all know it was, I started already thinking about mental health and ways I could improve it, and that's probably actually a blessing in a way, because we all needed that in that year. And I was able to keep my art journey going and use it to take my mind off things. In the years leading up to the decision to get really focused on my art, both myself and Matt had both lost really close friends to cancer, and this is what kind of shook me up a lot. And when I lost my friend, she was only 50, she had a 7-year-old son, and it kind of brought back a lot of, I guess, trauma in a sense, because I'd lost my brother only a few years before. He was only 40, so he was quite young. I'd lost both my parents, who were both quite young when they both passed away to cancer as well. So when she passed away, it kind of brought all those emotions back. And it just, you know, when people die kind of thing, you never really fully get over it. You kind of learn to live with it, but then when someone else passes away, you know, a few years later, you're reminded of it again, and you go through it again and again. So when she passed away, it just brought all of that back. And so yeah, it was just a rough kind of years after she passed away, with all the reminders of my brother. Actually, my brother was the same age as what my husband's friend was at the same time as well. So I within, you know, a few years, there was a number of people that had passed away from cancer, and they're all relatively young. My friend was the oldest at 50. With my brother, he was only 40, as I said, so he was an older brother. It got to the point when my friend passed away, I hit 40 around that time, or not too long after, and it just sounds so weird that I became the same age as my brother. Like, you should never become the same age as your siblings. Like, you know, he was, you know, 8 years older than me, and here I was living the exact same amount of years that he lived, and that was kind of just really tough. And when I lost my friend, it just opened all of that up again, and all those emotions, which is why after kind of a year and a half, 2 years, I started to, you know, feel a bit depressed, a bit sad, you know, all those things you feel. I quit my job, started a new job, just kind of started to try to do things that were going to give me a little bit of a new lease on life. And eventually I got to the point where I thought, I've got to start focusing on myself, and I started looking at the art journey, the mental health. I started looking about trying to eat better, I kind of gained a few kilos in that time. I started to focus on exercise again. Like I mentioned, I started going on weekly bike rides, started doing all of the positive things that you start doing when you start to realize you've kind of hit that little bit of the bottom and you want to just get better. So that's where my art journey kind of began with. I've kind of created a few rules when it comes to my art journey. 2020 was actually a really, really difficult year. I actually lost one of my other brothers that year as well. You know, there's a lot of stuff that actually happened in that year that was quite traumatizing for me, for everybody. But, you know, there's a lot of very bad personal things that did occur in that year that was extremely hard. So even though I was using art to kind of help myself, I also made sure that when I actually did art that I wanted to be in a clear headspace. I did one painting where I did an abstract painting where I was kind of angry, and it really showed. The art piece was just very angry art, and I didn't enjoy that. So I made this rule that art is kind of just my little bit of that positive haven. It's that little nice space. So I never go in, since that day when I did that bad art, I never go in feeling angry. I want art to be just that place where I feel happy and I can just lose myself. And it gives me the opportunity to just constantly grow. And when I start painting, those negative emotions are never there. So it's all about being positive, and I like to do things that are a little bit colorful, a little bit fun, they're a little bit different. I'm still learning. I've learned a lot of, you know, like the last couple of years, I've learned a lot of drawing techniques because I was a good drawer when I was younger, but I didn't really know how to draw as an adult. I didn't know that color pencils could be used to actually create things. I always thought about using them for coloring, things like that, like coloring pages. I've never learned how to do all that, so I've really focused on color pencils probably mostly the last year. I've learned a lot of oil paintings. I did the oil painting course that I mentioned earlier. I did a Paint the Ocean oil painting online course, which gave me a lot of skills. I've done a lot of YouTube. I've watched everything. I'm still learning acrylic paints, even though I've done acrylic paints over the last probably 4 years. I'm probably better at oil paints. I'm not very good at the blending of acrylic paint. So this little challenge of this video here, you know, it's acrylics, and I'm getting better at them, but I'm not perfect. Like trying to get the blends, I'm so bad at that, but you know, still learning. So I'm actually really happy with this piece, by the way, because it's just a little bit of fun, and it's really about happiness and positivity. I kind of wanted to create a piece that could be hung in a kid's bedroom, because I thought about a chalkboard in a house. You could put a chalkboard in a kid's bedroom, or you could put it in the kitchen. I started thinking about like doing cute little animals. I was thinking about doing some maybe Australian animals, but then I thought that cute little animals age very quickly, and a child, if this was in a child's room, you know, it would kind of be outdated very quickly. So I went down the C route, because I think this could actually be used in a child's room or someone that's a little bit older, because it's kind of nice. I think it's very happy, it's very colorful, and I think it's just fun. For the longest time, I've seen people take photos and paint pictures where the level of the ocean kind of starts, and I wanted to do something like that. So I got it where you can see everything underneath the waterline, and then you can see the waterline above. And I saw this picture where there was a castle in the background, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's a really good idea. I was just going to do a tropical island with some palm trees, And then I saw the castle, so I decided to go with that. And I'm really, really happy I did, because I really think it's a really cool little piece and it's very, very unique. It's probably my favorite or the biggest original piece I've done. Like, yeah, I did use some references here and there, and I just mentioned the castle, but the castle here is not the castle I saw. This is kind of has a little bit of influence from some of the architecture of that one, but not fully. It also has a little bit of reference from the colors of the Little Mermaid castle from the cartoon version. And yeah, it's just, this piece is completely unique. It's completely 100% me, and I've never really, I'm so bad at trying to get that full-on composition, so I'm really, really happy by this. It doesn't have a lot of depth because it's water, so there's not like it's not like there's a really chaotic background, but you know what? This is a learning piece, and I'm actually really happy that I've put so much into this piece as far as elements, and there's different fish, and there's a crab, and there's different types of water, and there's the castle. There's just a lot of things. I love my little shark that's kind of in the background, that's kind of in the distance. There's probably some things where you'd go, hey, those animals should be smaller or bigger or whatever, and I kind of figure out that they're not necessarily in the same plane as far as where we can see them. Some of them will be further away than others, so the size will actually change. You could probably also add a little bit more blue to them to actually desaturate the colors, because obviously some of them are in the distance, but I wanted this to be vibrant. I want this to be fun, so I broke those rules of nature because why not? It's art. Anyway, I hope you like the piece. If you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button and to subscribe to my channel for more content like this, and I will see you next time. Bye!